This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. My guests today are Eric Parker, who is the co-founder and CEO of Giddy, and I'm also joined by Ethan Parker, who is the COO and also a co-founder of Giddy. And of course, Eric and Ethan are brothers. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Great to have you guys here. I think what we'll do, just as we start to learn more about what Giddy is, which essentially is a DeFi platform, a DeFi wallet that hopes to make it make DeFi accessible for everyday users. So we'll learn all about this, but let's have a bit of just a little bit of a background introduction to you both. Eric, we'll go. You can go first. But yeah, just love to hear a little bit about your personal story, even your crypto story, because I've read a little bit of it, and it's a little bit interesting. I can see you were an early Bitcoin miner and an early Ethereum miner. But yeah, Eric, please give us a bit of your story, and then we'll go to Ethan.
Sure. Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. So Eric Parker here, CEO, co-founder, and here with my brother, Ethan. So yeah, you're right. We are making the easiest place to grow your crypto, to earn with DeFi. Want to make it accessible for the next 100 million people. So the background on this is that I am just a giant nerd. I'm a huge computer guy. My college was spent doing computer science and developing mobile apps. Most of my career was in tech companies here in Utah, some big, some small, some outside of Utah. So I have been doing programming for a while, and crypto as a hobby as early as 2012. My first exposure to Bitcoin was mining it with a little USB powered Bitcoin miner with a fan, and I just kind of went from there. So I've always been just kind of enthralled by the idea behind crypto, financial freedom and financial power. Having this system that's worldwide where you can transfer value immediately and have it be censorship free and decentralized. I love that idea. It's always captured me. So when I learned about Ethereum and this notion that you can not only do crypto and make it trustless and permissionless and decentralized, but deploy companies. You can run a business on the blockchain with Ethereum powered smart contracts. I was absolutely captured by that. I couldn't put it down. So yep, I did Bitcoin mining, I did Ethereum mining, and then around 2019 or so is when I got into writing code for the blockchain. And my background brought me to a place where I was able to help some people out who needed help. There's one guy in particular in our community who he got some money stuck on the blockchain, a pretty significant amount. I was able to help him get it unstuck, and lo and behold, it turns out he is a tech investor. He was our first angel investor for this company. So the interaction that I had with him, being able to help him get his money unstuck in DeFi and find a better home for it, it really got us thinking about how to scale this problem and how to bring the power of DeFi to more people. And it needed a fundamental shift, a fundamental rewrite of the thinking that people had in terms of usability, design, all the technology that we were using to bring it to people really needed a lot of help. So, that's where it got started. This idea that we could help one person do DeFi the right way. We wanted to scale it as big as we could, which brought us to getting a company funded. We brought a team together. And now we have an app that allows people to access DeFi with one tap. And it's real self-custodied DeFi where your money is yours. It's on the blockchain. It's earning interest and fees and yield in DeFi. And just amazing amount of progress in the last year and a half or so. But, we started as native crypto folks, and that's where we are still, while also building just powerful tools to access DeFi.
I love it. That sounds great. Well, thank you, Eric. And, Ethan, do you have a similar background to your brother?
Besides having the same parents and siblings? So we definitely have a lot in common. I guess some kind of fun things that we both did. I guess we both played some high school football. We both rode some sport motorcycles. We were both lifeguards. and we both ended up at BYU where we were roommates. But we're actually kind of complementary in our personalities by quite a bit. I ended up getting a degree in accounting from BYU. I did study some computer science there as well. But as far as my career path goes, I've done a bit more on like kind of like the business side. I've started a couple of consumer products and has a couple of small exits there. And then, but I did end up doing mobile apps development as well for a time. I was one of the early employees at Owlet Baby Care, and then went public last year. And while we were roommates, Eric had that Bitcoin miner, and so he was definitely like the more crypto pioneer than myself. I kind of wondered what it was. I was curious about it, but I didn't really think much of it. But then a few years later, though, we both got into Ethereum mining pretty big. We strung together a whole bunch of GPUs, and I put my miner in a warehouse and everything is trying to take advantage of industrial power pay rates instead of residential. So yeah, we both got into crypto in a pretty big way. But then for DeFi, once again, Eric definitely got into that in a big way, and then sort of pulled his friends and then myself in there as well. But yeah, so that first investor that came on board, Eric was able to get some money out of the blockchain we both met this guy on like kind of separate threads, and then we all came together. I was on a snowmobiling trip with him, and Eric kind of met him online on these forums, and we all became pretty fast friends. And there was definitely one night when it all sort of came together. We picked this investor up from the airport, and then we were at his house until 2 a.m. kind of discussing and negotiating and making friends and all that kind of stuff. So it all came together in sort of one magical DeFi night, I guess you could say. But yeah, the Giddy's been a really fun ride, and Eric and I have been really enjoying running the company and hiring the smartest people we've ever met to surround us.
Yeah, that's a fundraising hack for you. Pick up your VCs, your investors from the airport. You have a literally captive audience for a few hours. It's great.
Yeah, true. And we even we had a hamburger ready for him, so he was grateful for that. And yeah, that's our fundraising hack.
Nice. I like it. Some good old fashioned cowboy hospitality. And I suppose, I don't know if it's, and look, listeners, if you're unfamiliar with Giddy or the Giddy app, obviously you can download the app or just go to the website, which is giddy.co. But I'm curious because I'm looking at the website now, and of course, the brand for Giddy is, it's kind of Western style typography. There's a cowboy hat, and there's a I guess is it a YouTube ad? Whatever it is, it's an ad, and it's on YouTube. It's got, I think, close to 900,000 views, and it's very well produced. It's a minute and a half long. I mean, you guys can explain it better than I can, but there's a cowboy, there's a Western theme to Giddy. Where does that come from?
Yeah, so Ethan and I both grew up in the West, Arizona and Utah for the most part. Our dad was in the military, so we moved around kind of a lot, but this is kind of what we claim. So the imagery that you see of mountains and valleys and cacti, I should know better by now. It's what we grew up with. And we also loved the idea that, yes, crypto is the Wild West, but with the Wild West, there was new frontier. There's unsettled, unclaimed land. So not only is there opportunity to dive deep and make it work for you, but you can be creative. You can think of solutions that might not have been thought of before, and kind of stake your claim with nothing but opportunity in front of you. So it started out with just a feeling of generally being happy. You're giddy, you're excited about crypto and earning yield, and it kind of evolved into this identity that to us represents a chance to carve out your own space in the new economy. It represents an opportunity to stake your claim in a world that is not completely done settling, and we want to help everyone do that with the technology that we've built. So yeah, it's worked out pretty well for us. There's a lot of stories to be told. There's a lot of analogies to the Wild West to today, and I think that it's something that we hope is resonates with people when they see it, and you get the same experience from the first touch point straight through to using the app. The app it's very polished, it's very powerful. It helps you claim, this opportunity that's available to you in this unsettled space. So yeah, not only do we identify with it personally, but I think the imagery and the brand is a great illustration of what we're trying to accomplish at the company.
Yeah, I like that idea of the analogy of crypto not so much being the Wild West, but more appropriately framed, as you've said, as the new financial frontier, where in some respects it is a gold rush, and it's up to those kind of bold adventurers to go and stake their claim, as you say. Well, what about this YouTube video that I talked about? Because crypto. There's been a lot of different, I suppose, crypto ads or Super Bowl ads, promo videos produced, over the years by various different blockchain and crypto companies, and some are good and some are a little bit cringy. Your one, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's an incredible Hollywood production, but there's obviously a lot of effort and thought and work put into that.
Oh, you didn't know we won an Emmy? I'm just kidding. I'm with you.
Yeah, no, totally. And so yeah, I totally am on board with what you're saying. I mean, you've on the one end of the spectrum, you've got crypto.com using Matt Damon, which arguably single-handedly tanked the entire industry almost. Yes. and then on the other side of things, you've got just like screenshots only over bad music with no narration at all. And yes. So if we had unlimited budget, I mean, why not? We would probably be getting A-list celebrities too, but with what we had and what we wanted to spend and accomplish, we felt like it was really important to legitimize crypto with high production value, while also not being too cringy, like you mentioned, and also not doing stupid things like guaranteeing returns or talking about ourselves as with what we like to call the advertising swear word list, which is like, banking, savings account, interest rates, stuff like that. So we're careful to use the right language to not get ourselves in legal trouble. But we thought it was really important to bring an element of fun, of interest, and of overall quality to the industry. And a lot of people have said that about our ad. It's like, oh, wow, this kind of helps me to trust crypto, to want to experiment with it without it feeling too out of reach or out of touch.
And it really is again a representation of what our overall goal is, which is to connect everybody, crypto enthusiasts and your average retail investor, to the blockchain. So we're really focused on bridging the gap. We want this to be accessible and relatable to everybody, which is what you see with that commercial. It's when the guy says, like, is my money at risk? Yeah, absolutely it is. Is it insured by the federal government? No way. People understand that, and I think that they appreciate it when we are open and honest and transparent with what you're doing and what you're not doing. It's a huge opportunity to go earn some interest with your crypto, and very risky. So we want to help you on that path. And yeah, that right there, that commercial really encapsulates our mission, which is to bridge the gap for everybody to, kind of diversify, if you want to look at it that way, but to access the power of DeFi on the blockchain.
Awesome. All right. Well, talk us through a little bit more of the Giddy platform then. Feel free to, I don't know if you compare yourself to other competitors or other platforms in the market. What are your points of difference? And, who are you aiming Giddy at?
Yeah, excellent question. So when we started roughly 2 years ago, we made the very firm decision. We are going to be non-custodial 100%. And at the time it was kind of unique. It's like, okay, well, there's all these custodians out there that are getting a bunch of institutional money and like racking up their balance sheet like crazy. And it didn't get proved out until about a year later. Early 2022, we were at a trade show called Permissionless out in West Palm Beach, put on by Blockworks. And in the booth right next to us, there was a total, there was just a little tiny sign. There was a little cardboard. It was a completely empty booth with a tiny sign that said Terra Luna. And we were like, oh boy, that looks ominous. And that was only the first of the dominoes to fall. And so for us, the vision of being non-custodial it had to be that way. And it took us a long time to figure out our fully abstracted private key solution. That's really like kind of the crown jewel of what we offer. But people would ask us, so what are your competitors? And there was a time when our competitors were Celsius and BlockFi and Gemini and kind of Argent, non-custodial, and kind of Zerion, kind of MetaMask. But the funny thing is, a lot of our competitors have literally evaporated because custodial yield has come under fire, or they've literally just done illegal things and exploded like FTX. And so right now, our competitive landscape is definitely way different than it was when we started. Right now, if you're talking to a crypto head, I would say we don't have any competitors. Nobody can do what we can do. But if you're talking to a general audience and say, yeah, our competitors are Coinbase and Robinhood and MetaMask and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just the I don't know, the scale of what went wrong in 12 months in crypto. I guess throughout the course of last year, and yeah, I mean, as you pointed out, and obviously everyone knows this, but these huge companies that really were seen as almost too big to fail, and were seen as the kind of reputational cornerstones of the then crypto ecosystem, BlockFi, Celsius, FTX, all imploding spectacularly, and kind of bringing us back to, the old adage right from the beginning, which for a while seemed quite quaint, but, not your keys, not your coins. And it's proven true, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I just have to comment on the trust factor. You're too big to fail. I mean, rewind just a couple of short months. And what is FTX? They're a stadium. I mean, I'm a big automotive enthusiast. I love racing and Formula One. FTX is on the nose of the best
Mercedes,
Formula One driver
Lewis
of all
Hamilton.
time.
Yeah,
Lewis Hamilton's car. It has FTX on it. So it's like, no way these guys are going to fail. It's like DuPont. It's like Oracle. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy days. We'll talk. I'd love to hear just anything you guys can share. Tell the story any way you want. But what have you kind of noticed in terms of? Well, I suppose it'd be good to know when you kind of launched and how your user metrics grew. Perhaps if you're around in the more recent bull market. And how the current bear market has affected those new user signups, I suppose. Any kind of trends that you're watching? What can you tell us about the Giddy user base?
Sure. So DeFi summer started, and maybe for another year and a half, maybe more, people were drawn to DeFi because of the yield. And at the time, people didn't have a really great grasp on what was happening. We saw a lot of brand new DEXs start up that were minting their own tokens. They were boosting yield with these inflationary mechanics. So when people saw, 1,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000% APR, we all figured like, great, I'm gonna go grab some of this. Maybe I can liquidate it and get out before it collapses. But it only took some time before people understood that just isn't a great. It really is not sustainable. And then we start talking about the latest kind of trend people like to talk about is this idea of real yield. In other words, you have a sustainable business model that is deployed to the blockchain where you are providing a service to people and you earn revenue for that service. So Uniswap is a great example. Providing liquidity to decentralized exchanges is a fantastic example of real yield. Lending money through Aave, and then derivatives. There's other analogies to traditional finance that have been deployed to the blockchain that have sustainable business models where you're generating yield from a service provided. So we started the company at kind of the peak of this unsustainable yield movement where people were generally adopting DeFi because of the yield. And it took us about a year of research and development, of planning and developing and testing and everything to get the app out into the hands of people. So between the time that we started to the time that we deployed, the market, the landscape shifted dramatically. We started the company, we started testing messages around grow your crypto, earn yield, that kind of thing, DeFi related, yield related ads and messaging. And they were really, really doing well. We had high conversion, really a lot of interest. And now what you have is there's two or three things going on. We have interest in a sustainable business model, which out of necessity brings yield rates down to like back down to the earth, right? It's still pretty good. You can still find 20-30%, which is amazing, but we're not seeing millions of percent anymore. So interest has cooled off a little bit just because we're not seeing these like degen levels of yield. And then you get FTX and Celsius and these other things happen where people are starting to understand the notion of custodianship. We saw almost overnight, we saw a shift in basically like the search terms go from what's the best DeFi yield to how do I own my crypto? People are now aware of the requirement, the need, the risks involved with not owning your crypto. So the messaging shifts, the market interest shifts, and then you just have macro factors at play where generally the market cools off, and you get kind of brand new user adoption slows down, and you get people who are using crypto who've been in the industry, who are crypto enthusiasts. So this is kind of a long way of saying crypto right now it's definitely cooled off from where it was, about 2 years ago. And the things that people are interested in, what matters to users, has completely shifted. Yes, people still want to make good use of their capital. Of course, that's never going to go away. And thankfully, it's one of the best things about DeFi is that you can earn yield on a stable coin, for example. You can figure out strategies to get really good returns on your investment. But people are absolutely looking for a safe, sustainable, and self-custodied solution to the problem of what do I do with my money now? So our user base is largely people who are crypto enthusiasts. We still have some brand new users, not the least of which I think the oldest person that we have using our app is 85, 86. This gentleman is staked into Curve of all places. There's a LP that's 5 different tokens that you have to split up and create the LP and stake it. And it's a really sophisticated strategy, relatively speaking. But because of the tools that we've built, he's able to just, swipe his credit card, do an ACH transfer from his bank, and stake directly into one of the best protocols on DeFi. So it's definitely a mix of a lot of the different factors. But I think what is going to spur the next big movement, the next big bull cycle, it's going to be utility, it's going to be safety, it's going to be self-custody, and basically connecting the dots between what's on the blockchain and people's real world lives, and real world utility. Yeah, long answer.
Nicely said, though, and a couple of things I'd pick up on there. I agree with those potential accelerants for perhaps the next bull cycle, but of course it's also at the moment it is actually it's a real problem for people. What do you do with your money? Because if you've got money, even a large amount of capital or a small amount of capital, if it is just sitting in the bank, then it's not doing anything, and you're getting absolutely destroyed. Because banks aren't giving you almost no interest at all, and meanwhile prices are rising, so your money is just getting eaten alive. But of course, people are a lot more risk averse now due to the various crypto failures. But so interesting times. I guess the other potential accelerant of the next bull cycle, or why user adoption will gravitate to platforms such as Giddy, let's hope, is of course UI UX. So I'd love to hear more about how you guys are making it as simple and seamless as possible for people to access what are, as you say, reasonably advanced DeFi strategies.
For sure. So just, take that Curve pool or some other pools on our app, for example. So normally, they talk about LP pairs or liquidity pairs, but it gets a lot more complicated when there's more than just 2 assets, 3, 4, 5. We have some pools that have 5 different assets. Just think about if you're using a traditional tool like MetaMask, you have to purchase each of these 5 assets on their own, which is a gas fee. And then you actually have to meld them into the combined asset, which is another gas fee. And then you have to stake it, which is another gas fee. So you're talking about like minutes of time versus literally one swipe in our app. And that's just the smart contract batching, if you will, or the one-tap staking feature that we've got. I think probably the most significant advancement that we've made is our private key solution. So if you go to any non-custodial wallet besides ours right now, whether that's MetaMask or Coinbase wallet or the new Robinhood wallet, any of these, they're going to hit you in the face with a seed phrase, which is a completely foreign and dangerous topic to most people. In my opinion, the seed phrase has reached its total addressable market. It really shouldn't be spread any more than it already has, because it's so dangerous. If you lose it, you're all done. If you didn't stamp it on a piece of metal and put it in a safe deposit box, it's totally unrecoverable. And Giddy has innovated on this thoroughly, and I mean, sort of not, maybe not finally, but in a really big way. So our seed phrase is already is abstracted to the point where you don't have to write down a seed phrase, and it's sharded and it's stored in secure locations. It is recoverable, and we're the first people to do that on native mobile. There's no other place you can go to find a fully abstracted private key solution that's still recoverable. So we feel like that solution alone is going to open up crypto to the masses, to anybody that wants to is curious about crypto or wants to stake into something. Giddy is the absolute simplest, easiest, fastest way to do that.
So,
Yeah.
and I'll just add. Oh yeah,
Please.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to,
Yeah.
you can add to that, but I'll stay on the same. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, because the seed phrase thing, it is intimidating to people. And when listeners will be aware, when you try and onboard a non-crypto person into crypto and you set up their first wallet and buy them a little bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then you say, now, very important that you write the seed phrase down. Do not lose it. Do not store it in your email or in your iPhone notes. And people, they write it down and they have the best of intentions, but a day goes by, life goes on. A lot of people just aren't really taking it to the next level where they're going to put it in a safety deposit box or something. So, all right. So yeah, keep going, Eric. How does this work? How do you make a private key recoverable by email? I mean, that's a simple way of describing it, but that is what people expect if they get locked out of their Facebook app or something. They want an easy access back in by a password reset. How does the private key reset work?
So recently there was a product that had a breach with their private key stuff, and a developer from another wallet got on Twitter and really kind of berated them for their practices on how they were saving their private key, because it was like accessible easily by hackers and stuff like that.
Oh, they were storing it basically unencrypted on a device in storage that was relatively easy to capture. So what I wanted to touch on is a pretty recent development. There's this proposal being worked on by the Ethereum Foundation. Vitalik Buterin himself and a couple of his partners are developing this notion of account abstraction, or some people are talking about it in terms of a smart wallet or smart account. The really technical, nerdy version of it is ERC 4337. So this is a really good way to sum up what we have done, what we're working on. If you do a quick Google for smart account ERC 4337, you're going to find conversations about wallet recovery, about multi-factor authentication. You're going to find conversations about gas payment abstraction. In other words, paying for your transaction fees in any token, not just Ethereum or Matic, and also transaction batching. It's really a fascinating time to be talking about wallet tech, because we started building all of those things, about 2 years ago. And the more that we dig into this new proposal, what we're finding is that we have actually implemented things the exact same way that this proposal is suggesting. So the technical details are well, they're technical. It gets pretty deep, but the big takeaways are that we have three major things that we've done. We've abstracted away the need to write down a seed phrase. We've abstracted away the need to have gas in your wallet to even think about what it means to pay for those transaction fees. And also, we do the hard part of staking into a sophisticated DeFi strategy for you. It's all being done with code. It's all being done on the blockchain in a self-custodied wallet. But what we're going to see is, I believe, over the next year, more and more and more emphasis and research and building around account abstraction, and specifically this Ethereum Foundation proposal that involves these major things. So the Giddy wallet, when you download it, it's going to feel very different from your traditional seed phrase driven crypto wallet. You log in with either Google or Apple or just an email address. You create a password, like a backup password. You link a Google Authenticator or SMS, like one-time password. You set up your device to protect one of these backup shares with like biometrics, fingerprint or face scan, or even just a device pin. And then Giddy, the company, is able to help you recover your account if you lose other factors as well. So what it breaks down to is this seed phrase, this private key. It still exists, but it only exists in fractions of the seed phrase. You take the seed phrase, you break it up into a bunch of parts, and those parts are represented by math. It's represented by an algorithm that's able to bring them back together to recreate your private key only at the time that it's needed to sign a transaction. And then that private key goes away. It's not stored on the device. It's not stored on the internet. It never touches our servers. It never touches your iCloud. Your private key, the absolute most important thing to your self-custodied wallet, it never even crosses the internet. So it is a relatively, I was going to say new, groundbreaking. The actual math, the actual algorithm behind it, dates back to the 50s or 60s. The encryption that we use to keep track, or to help users, protect their secret phrase, is old. We just found a new application for it that is driven by modern tech and by handheld devices that is exactly as secure, if not way more secure than current methods. That helps you recover, that helps you do multi-factor auth, and is incredibly easy. Our users are totally familiar with these backup factors, and it's exactly as powerful as your typical self-custodied wallet without the vulnerability of a seed phrase.
Yeah, because it's similar to, used to be called Shamir's secret sharing.
Yeah.
It's like a version of that, right?
Right. Yeah. So Shamir's is a type of threshold threshold share security, threshold secret sharing, and there's multiple different algorithms for it. But yeah, this is basically a juiced up, improved, modernized version of Shamir's.
I love it. All right. Hey, well, as we get to, I guess the end of the episode, chaps, love just to hear from you guys in terms of, I don't know, anything that's coming up on the product roadmap, and also just tell us, is Giddy available to users in most countries around the world? And also feel free to tie in any thoughts on it's a little bit of some regulatory headwinds, I suppose, in the US where you guys are based. How do you guys think about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I'll just address the availability of the app and where it's at, like on our product roadmap. So it's currently available in I believe 151 countries. So that should cover the majority of Earth's population. So it's out there. Go grab it. Giddy.co is the website, or just feel free to search Giddy on both Google Play and the Apple App Store. Sign up is super easy, as we mentioned. You just log in with either just your email password, or feel free to use your Apple or Google sort of single sign-on experience. Really easy to on-ramp money. We have a bunch of different on-ramps. If you already have a Coinbase account, there's Coinbase Pay in there. Or if you want to do just straight regular kind of like Apple Pay or debit cards, we have support for all kinds of that stuff too. So really easy to get money into the app. And as we announced at ETH Denver, we now have support for a whole bunch of different coins on the Polygon network, like Wrapped Ethereum and Matic and USDC, and of course Giddy Coin. So you can send and hold your Polygon coins in the wallet. The most immediate improvement upon that is going to be swaps. So going from one coin to another seamlessly, gaslessly in the app. That's coming down real soon. So we're excited for that.
Yeah. A lot of our a lot of plan A has always been account abstraction, super easy DeFi. So we're going to be leaning into this new ERC that the Ethereum Foundation is trying to build out for account abstraction. So holding all your tokens, being able to send them, being able to swap them, and then doing that on multiple chains. That's definitely our most immediate goal. And as far as regulation, this is a really interesting and deep topic for us. One of the first people that we brought on board at the company, our chief financial officer, he's also now our chief compliance. He came to us from PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the really big accounting firms here in the US. He was working in the Bay Area and has a huge amount of experience with, tax law and various things that really matter when you're running a business, and especially when you're running a crypto business. So we've invested heavily and early in our legal strategy and how we structured the company, which is exactly why we knew from day one that we had to be a self-custodied wallet provider, that we provide technology that gives you access to the blockchain. We do not get in between users and their money. We don't make trades on your behalf. The only person that can send money or stake is you with your private key and your identity. And that is core to how the business is structured and how we think about developing the product, as well as developing business relationships. So as far as the macro level regulations that are happening in the US, we actually view it as an opportunity to help shape policy. So for example, in the state of Utah, there's a blockchain task force that we participate on, where we get to talk to Utah legislators and our representatives about what it looks like to run a crypto company that is doing things the right way. So we've actually recently been able to provide some help in pushing through legislation for establishing a DAO in the state of Utah, where you can create a legal entity and then redact the names of the contributors to the DAO. So you can have a fully autonomous, decentralized, true to form DAO that also has a real world legal entity for a lot of different things. If you wanted to do, employee benefits and just have a relationship with the real world, and also have a truly anonymous decentralized DAO, it provides that legislation. We're doing some work around what it means to have a self-custodied wallet, as well as money transmitter licenses. We're doing some work around helping the state become a validator for the Ethereum network. We honestly, my viewpoint on this is that the way that regulation shapes up for crypto in the next 2-3 years is going to determine how much we get to play. Obviously, we're headquartered in the US. We have a vested interest in seeing our ability to run this company well, and the regulation that we see needs to be written and thought about by people who understand the industry. The worst case scenario is that we get laws that stifle innovation and don't actually protect anybody. If we force everybody offshore to less scrupulous developers, there's still going to be people who want it, and they're going to get harmed because they don't have a good framework to follow. So I think that what we're seeing right now is largely spurred by people who don't exactly understand the potential for blockchain, the potential for DeFi, and are basically looking at some bad actors and trying to write rules in retrospect, in hindsight, to prevent that from happening. So yeah.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts, and I very much agree. So it's always about striking that right balance between fostering and encouraging innovation, protecting consumers, but it's always difficult for lawmakers to do when a technology field is moving so quickly. About to see the same thing happen in AI, I feel, but. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. Very much enjoyed talking to you both. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Ethan. As we close the show, just shout out your Twitter handles if you have them, or anywhere else you like to hang out online.
Yeah, so the company is at Giddy DeFi, pretty much everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, those various platforms. You can find me at Sir Eric Parker, and I think Ethan's is Ethan D. Parker on Twitter. And we have an active Discord, awesome community that's always chatting about, product updates and how that goes in crypto land. So definitely encourage anyone to check that out. And obviously, Giddy.co is the website. You can find the app on the App Store, Apple and iOS and Android.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. All the best, and bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was fun.
All right, there you go. That was Eric and Ethan from Giddy. And nice guys from Utah, Arizona, the West, the great new brave financial frontier. Hey, go to giddy.co and check out that the ad I was talking about. It's on YouTube, but it's the video's on their website. It's pretty cool. It's funny. I enjoyed it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. That is today's show. Thank you for listening, team. Make sure you subscribe to the Crypto Conversation in whatever podcast app you are using so you know when each new episode drops. But that is today's episode. Thanks for listening. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. See ya.